welcome to Lifestyles of the Strange and Exotic Star Trek book review with my co-star Phil. Now these are the last two of sort of the levels of awesome books that I have, that I possess in my library, and I'm pretty sure I thought I had one more, but I guess it's up. I guess it's up already. So one's a book and one is something I will save for the last video. And this one I think everybody should have. I usually say this, but should have, but most likely has in their library if you are a Trek fan of any sort of level, even a next genner. And again, this one came out in the 90s during the anniversary season of 94, I think it was. Need to double check. Some of this originally came out in 79, so that was like the first printing. Copyright 87. So this is like a redo of a rather ancient book. So this basically came out during the very first movie. And it is Mr. Scott's Guide to the Enterprise. Aided by the logbooks of Chief Engineer Montgomery Scott and recently declassified Starfleet material, Shane Johnson, who did the Worlds of the Federation book, has written the most accurate, in-depth look of the USS Enterprise, NCC 1701A, available. For the first time anywhere, deck by deck in full fascinating detail, you will tour the inside of the USS Enterprise, the United Federation of Planets' most recognized intergalactic ambassador. Using dozens of blueprints, sketches, and photographs, you will visit the on-ship sites of Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, and Commander Scott's most famous adventures, and take a never-before-revealed peek at the inner workings of a starship. From the engineering room to the captain's quarters, from sickbay to auxiliary control, here's your complete guide to the most famous starship of all, the USS Enterprise. And it is set up exactly like the Worlds of the Federation, where it goes Starfleet Databank, hard copy, except this is in red and not blue, and the sketches are similar. The setup is almost exactly the same, which is nice because it's got this sense of consistency. I don't know what other book Shane Johnson put out, because it doesn't really say in this one. If anybody knows, do tell. Acknowledgements. For damn. And again, it uses the Star Trek font, the movie fonts anyways. And we can kind of tell, if you see a certain font, that's where it's from. Okay. This is the introduction, written by Commander Montgomery Scott, Chief Engineer, USS Enterprise. And no, I am not attempting a Scottish accent. On behalf of the officers and crew of the Starship Enterprise, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you to your first tour of duty aboard this vessel. You may take pride in the fact that you're among the distinguished few among Starfleet ranks to be given such an assignment. Service aboard a starship. And I'm assuming the, Enterprise class at that point, was it? The Constitution class, anyways, because Starfleet's nothing but starships. Starfleet. The mission successes of which have become almost legendary. This manual has been provided that you might more easily acquaint yourself with life aboard the Enterprise, the flagship of the Enterprise class, and one of the most sophisticated vessels in the fleet. You may have served aboard a ship of the Constitution class, the class to which Enterprise previously belonged, during your career. Perhaps you are newly graduated from Starfleet Academy. In any case, this manual will prove to be an invaluable guide to officers and crew alike. Deck by deck, in full detail. This book will familiarize you with the interior arrangement of this vessel, thus allowing you to ease into your new position with greater comfort and efficiency. And then it just goes on, and it goes, she's a tall ship, and I am proud to have served as her primary engineer during her rebirth. Improved warp, phaser, and deflector performance has been incorporated into the new configuration, as will be explained in the text of this book, making Enterprise the most powerful single active vessel known to the Federation. This distinction is indeed a reflection upon you. The pride of the fleet is manned only by the pride of the fleet. Again, welcome aboard. With your help, Enterprise will boldly pursue our ongoing mission, and will, as stated in the Starfleet Charter, venture where no man, one, has gone before. And, I mean, original Enterprise pretty much, they just took her all apart and put her all back together again. I mean, it kind of went beyond refit. I mean, couldn't they just, they pretty much just rebuilt the ship. Which I expect, which kind of makes sense why she became A and, no, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, it was 1701A in the movie. I don't know, I never kind of understood that. But it kind of goes, in the beginning, what went into the refit, Enterprise Stardate. Now here's something interesting. On April 7th, 2212, Enterprise Stardate 7523.2 returned to Earth and, finished her job and got all spiffy. Now it goes Enterprise Stardate. Wouldn't there need to be, and of course, people have tried to make their brains explode trying to figure out the Stardate system, which is not meant to be figured out. But would each starship have a different Stardate system? I wouldn't think so, because, physics is still physics. So I just kind of like, Exeter Stardate, or is it just, I don't know, there's a thought there that exploded in my hanger deck. And it kind of goes into the, the company that built the nacelles was called Leading Engines Limited. I'm surprised they didn't do like Boeing or something like that. Shuvinologist, warp technology. So they have like names of the different companies that built the different parts of the ship. And you have actual photographs from the movie. And the best part of the original movie, the motion picture basically, was the ship shot. Just the awesome drive around the ship as you see the little guy waving. That was still my favorite part of the movie. Just glorious. And then you have her new specifications. They redid the self-destruct system. So it kind of goes through what they changed in the ship, which is really kind of neat. And you have your stereotypical blueprint that you usually see with the Enterprise class Enterprise. And I like the well, yeah, it's still simplistic, but still detailed, the drawings and the schematics. Contractor sketches. This one doesn't have execution. See, I'm not quite sure. And it actually goes into why they changed the duty uniforms, too. Oh, I like the TOS uniform, come on. Uniform colors. And this actually kind of harkens back more to the technical manual, which has a lot more detail, but it's pretty much similar in a way. And it goes into the different symbols. So there's a lot of information here. Shows what the schematics to the quarters are. And this is like the hors d'oeuvre compared to the meal that I will show you shortly. Or at least in the last video. You know what? Mr. Scott should have had this in Star Trek V. They should have been made, I guess they didn't have a printing at that point, so I know this ship like the back of my head. Poof. Trekkies will know what I'm talking about. Corridor redesign. So this, I'm not quite sure how to really explain it. It's a simpler version of the tech manual, but it's still got that type of meat to it. And it's just a fun book. And it goes, dedication plaque, mounted on the main bridge, starboard turbo lift alcove. And it's just, you know, instead of Constitution class, it's starship class. Which is kind of silly, really. And it goes into the, you know, graphics. The only thing that, as far as like the display graphics, it would have been kind of neat if it was in color. That would be like the only change I would make, but everything's in black and white, which, you know, makes it a much more affordable book, I would think. Ship's directory. It's just a really fun book to have, and you can just picture somebody with a pad with this going around the ship. And you get this gives you more of the little details more, where some of the other books just sort of glean over the generalities. I'm not quite sure, other than just general Trekkies that would enjoy this book. I don't know. Architects, maybe, people that... See? Oh. This is what I meant by Star Trek fonts. They call them typefaces. I don't know. I think anybody really would probably enjoy this. But definitely if you like the hardware, technical stuff of Trek, this is, you know, you have to have this in your library. Again, you must. Amongst all the other books that I say you must have, a must have. Again, Shane Johnson does a really good job, you know, packing a lot of detail in a simple form where it's not just like confusing doodles and it's like, that's in a cell. It's elegantly drawn, you know, simply put. It's just fun to flip through. And you have your... That should have been like the end of every video. United Federation of Planets, Starfleet Headquarters. And first pocketbooks trade paperback printing, July 1987. But I'm pretty sure of most books in this kind of genre, this is the one that would be reprinted the most, because I think it's the most well-known, most popular of these type of books. Especially when it's Mr. Scott's Guide to the Enterprise. I mean, do you see Geordi's Guide to the Enterprise? No! So, a fun read, even if you're not a Trekkie. It's just a fun book. Thank you for watching. Again, comment if you know any other books by Shane Johnson, because I like his styling and his consistency between his books. Phil would like you to rate a thumbs up and subscribe to see the last of this particular series. Live long and prosper.